As you guys know, iOS 12.4 just came out literally like 2 days ago, and this could potentially be the last version of iOS to some specific iPhones. And the specific iPhones that we were talking about yesterday actually were the iPhone 6, 6 Plus, 5S, the iPod Touch 6th Gen, and also some iPads. But I talked about the iPhone 6 yesterday, and now I kind of want to talk about a phone that's actually very near and dear to my heart. I know I say that with every video, but there's so many phones that really mean a lot to me, and the iPhone 6 Plus is actually the first iPhone that I used as a main phone really in my whole entire life. I had iPhones before, but I didn't really like pop my SIM into it until I switched to the 6 Plus. And let me tell you, this phone definitely has a lot of problems and things like that, but I enjoyed using it. I didn't really have too many issues with it. But now let's go ahead and see how the iPhone 6 Plus holds up in the mid 2019 era. I might do another late 2019 review, but a lot of things have changed since the beginning of the year when I did my full-on "So Am I Still Worth It" in video. So if you want to get a full in-depth review, go ahead and watch that. I'll try to leave a link down in the description. If not, you can just type in iPhone 6 Plus in 2019 on the search bar up here, and my video will probably be one of the first ones that come up. And also, fun fact, the iPhone 6 Plus and the iPhone 6 were the best-selling iPhones ever, so I figured a lot of people probably still own them, so maybe they want to know, how their old phone is doing, how their current phone is doing, all that good stuff. But body-wise, as you guys know, not much has changed at all. Obviously, nothing has changed. The 6 Plus is still kind of susceptible to the touch disease problem as well as the bend gate issue, but as long as you put a case on your phone, as long as you're a little careful, you're going to be perfectly fine. I've had this one for about a year or two now, and I've had no issues with it. With my main iPhone 6 Plus that I also had no issues at all. So I think it's more of a case-by-case basis, no pun intended, but make sure yours is all set. There's still a lot of bezel on the front, comparing this to like a lot of the phones that are being released now, even the budget phones. The budget phones now look way better than this thing, but this thing still has a fingerprint sensor. It has a 5.5-inch display, 1080p. Definitely not a bad panel at all, but definitely, not an OLED or anything like that. But for the price of this phone, it still feels like a very premium phone. It doesn't feel cheap at all, which is really, really good. So that kind of covers up everything on the outside. I didn't want to go too in depth with it, but now looking on the inside of the phone, this thing has the Apple AA chip, a dual-core CPU, and 1 gig of RAM, and really the internal specs is what really messed up this device from the beginning with. It was pretty underpowered even when it was released. I never had it when it came out, but I know a lot of people who did. I watched so many reviews of it and people would just bash it. But at that time, there wasn't too much to compare to until the 6S Plus came out, so really at that point, that's kind of what the biggest difference was. But the 6 Plus, even now, it's still a pretty slow device as expected. Like, it's not fast at all. It's definitely, showing its age. There's no force touch. There's nothing like that. So in terms of the performance, you will definitely be kind of, underwhelmed in a way. And I always found that the iPhone 6 Plus was actually slower than the iPhone 6. And that's mostly to do with the bigger screen, the high resolution screen. And because there's more pixels per inch on the iPhone 6 Plus than on the iPhone 6, I always found it to be slower than the 6. Which is weird because you're paying more money for the iPhone 6 Plus, and even now in 2019, this thing, they're still selling for quite a bit of money, which is surprising, but I'll get into that in a second. But in terms of like heavy intensive gaming and things like that, you will be okay, like I said. I've never really found the 6 Plus to be a performance-heavy device, but, I guess this isn't really the video where I'm going to delve deep into that. What I'll tell you is it gets the job done for the most part, so in terms of that, you'll be set. But the main thing I wanted to hit on was actually the software, and it's ending on iOS 12.4, and I made a video not too long ago talking about how the iPhone 6 should have gotten iOS 13, and the iPhone 6 Plus kind of falls under that too. And as of right now, I'm actually really, really happy that the iPhone 6 Plus and 5S, obviously the 5S, that was going to be done anyway, but the iPhone 6 Plus, I feel like with iOS 13, it's kind of like another iOS 11. I know it's way too early to call it, but at least iOS 12 is, pretty stable. It definitely could be better, but it's definitely not a really buggy software. It's definitely a pretty safe software in my opinion. So at least I think in terms of that, at least it has that going for it. So even though it doesn't have the most features and you don't have dark mode or whatever, at least you have a stable piece of software. And even if you care about software updates and features like that, you might be missing out on some features, but you will still have the App Store. That's not going to be going anywhere for you guys for at least another couple years. And plus apps and everything are still going to be updated through the App Store. So you will be set for at least another 2-3 years until apps begin to, being unsupported for iOS 12. But that's not coming out until iOS 15 or iOS 16 comes out, so that's kind of all I wanted to hit on the software. I guess I'll hit on the camera for a couple seconds. As you know, it has an 8 megapixel sensor on the back. It's okay. I don't even want to talk about 1080p video, 30 frames per second. It gets the job done, like I've stated before. If you're taking photos outside, it'll look fine. If you're taking indoor photos or something, definitely it's going to look a little grainy, but it's not the end of the world. So I guess I'll give it the benefit of the doubt there. It has a 1.2 megapixel front facing camera, and like I said, okay, at least it has a front camera versus not having one at all. And that's really all I want to hit on the camera side. And to kind of sum up this whole entire thing, like I said, it's a pretty short kind of mid 2019 review, but the iPhone 6 Plus is, kind of like how it was earlier this year. But like I said, I'm actually happy that I didn't get iOS 13. I think it could have handled it, like I said in yesterday's video, since the iPad Air 2 was getting iOS 13. That kind of has the same chipset. It has the A8X, this one has the A8, but I do feel like if that could have supported it, this one could have supported it too. That one had 2 gigs of RAM though, so maybe the RAM was the main issue, who knows. But if you currently own an iPhone 6 Plus, you can keep it if you want to. It's still getting app support and all that stuff. So in terms of that, you'll be good. But if you want to update, I'll definitely say the iPhone 6s Plus or the iPhone 7 Plus would only be the more logical steps to go up. I would not go for like an iPhone 6 or anything like that. Definitely get an iPhone that's supported. And all the iPhones that are supported with iOS right now seem to be very good fits. So I'll find the cheapest iPhone 6s Plus and iPhone 7 Pluses on Amazon, and I'll link them straight down in the description below. So you can get them super easily, and you can also help support the channel at the same time. But that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section as well. Let me know how your iPhone 6 Plus has been treating you, whether you own one now or you've owned one in the past. Let me know your experience with it. Hit that like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I would really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.